Greetings, listeners. It's your Destiny Pusher, Mrs. Cynthia Williams-Bey, and it's time to push through on this Fighting Friday so you can be restored and sprung forth into your destiny. Everyone, and welcome to the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on 101.3 FM, 990 AM. I am Mrs. Cynthia Williams-Bey, your Destiny Pusher, and it is time for us to just dig in and continue to press forward so that way God is able to spring you forth into your destiny. I'm really excited to be here and joining you guys. This is the first time we're actually screening live, so hello everybody. Y'all get to see me and I get to see you guys. So everybody that's tuned in on Facebook, thank you guys for tuning in. Those that are listening on the radio station, turn it up because this is an interview that you guys are not going to want to miss. So I need you guys to really do me a quick favor and make sure you go ahead and drop what city and state you're tuning in from, because yes, I'll be in the comments. I'll be in those comments thanking you guys, all right? And make sure that you share this broadcast, and also be sure to follow me on all social media at Bey Radio Show. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. Without any further ado, I want to introduce you guys to a really, really special guest that I have here with me today. Mr. Adam Evans, and he is an educator, he is a devoted father, and he is a business owner. And he's going to be coming on and just sharing with you guys and being very transparent and safe with you all, right? We're gonna take care of him today, right? And he's gonna share a little bit about his story. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring him on so that he can tell us a little bit more about himself. Hey.
Hello, how are you doing?
Great. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Adam. I was in education for about 15 years and worked with a lot of the youth and families, helping disadvantaged kids, as well as families to try to achieve the college or academic dreams, and so helping people do things that they weren't able to do for themselves. So that was kind of like a gap builder. I would end up coming to the Richmond area. I guess it was in 2018. I worked for Chesterfield Schools as assistant principal for about 2 years, and then I resigned during COVID, where I would go on to start a little academic learning pod for my kids, as well as stay going home to take care of my wife at the time. So I was able to be home and still work with the kids and be there for her during that time as well. Since then, I've been engaged in some other businesses, and yeah.
Yes. So you said you came here in 2018. So where were you born and raised at?
Well, originally from Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Moved to the South Richmond area, Chesterfield, right before high school. Moved with my father and my stepmom and sisters.
Oh, wow.
So after that, I left and went to college in North Carolina. Went to Detroit. Worked for a charter school up there for a number of years. Then I left and I came back to Richmond, and then I ended up doing some other jobs in between and going back in education. That's when I moved to Charlottesville, where I worked for the Charlottesville schools for a number of years, as well as another community service organization prior to that. So that was my
transition. Yeah. Wow, I don't see a lot of men represented in the school system and education. What made you want to go into that field?
I think it was I don't say calling, but it was a thing that came most natural to me. Working with people, I was always loved kind of wearing the counselor hat, and initially that's where I planned on going to, like in college, was kind of like that therapy.
Yes.
Counseling side, working with social emotional pieces and trying to answer those questions. However, I also like helping people as well.
Yes.
When I was in college, and I had a really horrible science teacher, and I did so horrible in that class, I felt it was because she didn't try to teach me.
Yes.
And like some people say that, like, oh man, my teacher didn't teach me. This woman really did not give me the opportunity to do better. So I really left feeling like I could do better than this.
Yes.
And I could even help her do better than this. So I kind of stuck with me, and I moved into education and going that route, and I saw what I could bring to the table and how what I did, brought, at least I hope, the best out of kids and families, parents, and so on. And I felt that I had good ideas and good energy about myself, and the fact that I had a passion for it made it even easier. So seeing what I put into it, getting things back from it was gratifying. And a lot of guys don't go into education. It's not necessarily the place where people go to make a lot of money. And if you ask me when I was in high school, I would have said I wanted to make money. So why do you go in education? I was also involved with teachers union, and part of one of the big initiatives to try and do is really recruit men of color, and men overall to come into education, because we need more faces there, to just, I guess, to change the narrative as well. So I don't want to ramble too.
No, that's really great, because people don't understand, even when it comes to education, and being an early childhood provider myself, we make a lasting effect on children. Like, I can still remember my 3rd grade teacher, Miss Wader, right? And I'm 43. I'm 43 right now, but I can still remember her, and I remember how she would make me feel, even when I struggled in school and things like that. So having that face as a African-American man, our boys need that, especially in the school system. And just the fact that you were able to go back and be the person that you needed, right? Yeah. Because that lady, science teacher, had a lasting effect on you.
Sure did.
So that's like really, really great. So guys, get your tissues ready. Get your tissues ready, right? So you were saying that you transitioned from the school system during COVID because you wanted to be there for your wife.
Yes.
You were married to the beautiful TQ Evans.
Yes.
Yes, which we all love. Everybody here in Richmond and beyond, we've all heard the story, but this would be your first time publicly really speaking, about everything. Can you share your story about your wife and what happened with her?
Yeah, we were, TQ, Tunquise. We were married in 2011, and together we had 2 beautiful kids. We brought another young girl into our lives through adoption, and she was an awesome spirit, awesome person. We had transitioned out of Charlottesville. One piece was I was looking for Charlottesville, small town, small city. So some of the jobs weren't necessarily available. There's some things you want, especially within education. And just wanted something a little bit different. And we wanted to go back to kind of a metropolitan area. So we made the decision to come to look for jobs. And that's where I found the job in Chesterfield.
Yes.
And we moved down here in July 6, 2018. It was beautiful. It was our first home together. It was awesome thing. She had started a clothing line called Prendy Pants, and I give her all the credit. I was a helper. I was saying, you see me on on the credits, but that wasn't for me necessarily to be in the front for those things. But she had, we had just began to launch this product, which was a high waist maternity legging used to reduce the size of the uterus to really support women after childbirth, help them feel good about themselves, confident while still providing a true service for your body, and it was almost a year of being there in Richmond. So we got there in July. I think it was like June 14th.
Yes.
And I'll say prior to that, my wife had probably the most health conscious person that I know. Vegan, between vegan, pescatarian, or whatever. But I would give her an omnivore credit, but she was always very healthy, always exercised, really took care of her body, mind, spirit, soul. She was just a complete, awesome being.
Yes.
And she was, looking back, you kind of, sometimes you can see signs of certain things.
Yes.
But when you're in there, you don't know what it looks like. You don't know what a tsunami looks like until you've seen a tsunami before.
Yes.
So, looking back there before Charlottesville, she would say she had some little tummy aches and something. My tummy looks a little big. Go to the doctor, get checked out, blood comes out, blood work comes back great, oxygen, all the things here, everything's you're supposed to do. You're not pregnant, that's not a thing. Oh, okay, so I guess I'm great. So just looking at that before I moved to Charlottesville was a thing. And she would kind of continue to have this little slight discomfort, nothing serious. Again, going to the doctors, going to pediatricians, we're going to her physician, OB, the whole deal, and things. Every time she would go and get work done, everything would come back positive.
And I want to pause right there because I need you guys to really listen to what it is that he's saying, because he's saying there's signs sometimes when it comes to our bodies. And sometimes, even though we deem physicians to be the experts, right? Sometimes you need to push them a little bit more because, as he was stating, she was healthy, blood work came back fine, everything showed back fine. But if you feel like it's something off with your body and you know that you're healthy, you need to push doctors and push them a little bit more to do a little bit more research and testing, right? So go ahead and finish. I just wanted to bring that point to the audience.
And I will speak to that as well. And I'll probably on the other side of it, because going through this, she would eventually, she would have problems with defecating, poop, whatever you think.
Yes.
Again, as you're married, it's like, it doesn't matter. This is what we're doing. So it was something, but again, you don't know.
Yes.
You don't know. You don't know. And there we would try to do laxatives again. We just didn't understand what it was. They would say, because you're a vegan, you get a lot of protein, so that's probably where you're really getting some of that stuff from. It's like, okay, but again, somebody gives it to you, they tell you, they wrap it up well and tell you what it is. They come with a chart and says, your numbers look great, it's probably just that. You're like, oh, okay. So time it went on, she having discomfort, wasn't able to use the bathroom. We took a laxative, it didn't work. One day I went and got a super laxative, whatever the strong one was, and I gave it to her, and she was in super pain.
Wow.
I had no idea, and we're not a mercy room kind of people, but she was like, we need to go to mercy room.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, all right. I don't know, at that point in time, I don't know what I did with the kids. I had somebody maybe come over to the house, the kids were asleep because it was late at night. And we were in the emergency room all through the night until the morning, and she finally got taken to the back room, and they did the scan on the table and told us that she had stage 4 colon cancer, and there was a complete obstruction in her colon.
Wow.
It was like, y'all, first thing was, wait, what? And we have to operate now.
Wow.
Wait, what? So that was like getting a gut punch, and then being like, how did we end up here?
Yeah.
I couldn't use the bathroom. Now I have stage 4.
Yeah.
And then it's like, go to the book, what's stage 4 again? Like, you feel like this is what's happening, but let me just make sure.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. The way the doctors spoke at that point was like, we have to do this thing, we have to move quick. I don't know what this thing means, but so My wife, very beautiful woman, now has her colon, this piece cut out, and she has her body manipulated to have the colostomy bag.
Yes.
So they have this when they cut your rectum and then pull it out the side of your stomach.
Yeah.
And you have to keep it back there. So then the psychological things that came with that, on top of the fact that you have stage 4 cancer, which means that now it's somewhere else in the body. You don't know how long it's been there. Based on the amount of the spread, they could have been there for years. So then you go back to think, but I've checked in with you every time.
How did you miss this?
How did you miss that?
Yeah.
How did you miss it? Technically, I'm giving you signs. I'm giving you these little keys here, but you would come to know that doctors are just people, and the things that you look up for a doctor, same thing you can find out online yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes your doctor knows certain things, go in the back room, start typing things in the computer, looking for the same. I'm Googling too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see what comes up. I got this, and they're doing research. They're like lawyers trying to figure out what case before, what can I find? Is there something here? And if there's nothing to go off of, then you can just be shot. If you have a doctor that doesn't have that type of experience or that type of knowledge or gear, you can really miss out. So it would turn out that the cancer spread to her liver, her lung, her ovaries, her uterus. So she would end up getting a hysterectomy and having all type of stuff to remove the cancer within her side. Now pause and say, now at this point in time, now she's getting chemo.
Yes.
And again, it's like we have to do this type of chemo, got the strongest one possible to get this thing going. And they started hitting her with chemo, and then the chemo was messing her up.
Yeah.
It's working, but a chemo, obviously, most people know now, but chemo is just like a hydrogen bomb going off in your body. You're trying to kill, scorch earth, kill everything.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was a chemo would end up the medicine for the chemo would impact her liver or her heart. It was her heart.
Yeah.
And so then she had to stop with that. So she couldn't do chemo, but now this little cancer was spreading somewhere else. You couldn't do these things. But there was hope at a point that afterwards we had cut. When we took the cancer out, she started recovering because she wasn't doing chemo. So while the cancer was not there, it was still growing small.
Yes.
Didn't come back in the colon. But now it's
other parts of her body.
Going through that, we kind of saw waves of things. If you followed the story at all, it was, when she was out, it was good. And that's one thing about her, is she was the most positive person with it.
Yes.
And
she shared a lot. I did follow the story, and she was just so positive about everything. She was just so at peace, and it was just her peace just kind of radiated to all of us.
She had faith.
Yes.
She had faith in that it was going to work out.
Yes.
Until the point that we found out that it wasn't. I used to have people ask me, why are y'all so positive? I mean, I truly, and maybe naively, wanted to believe and had faith, hope that we could find a way around this. Eating these foods and doing these things and trying to get this type of tea. If there was a way that we could make it happen, we were trying to. And that's one of those things that tell you, richest person in the world, you can't get time back. You do all these things and you just can't get this thing. So, we had strong beliefs up until, I would say, 3 months before she passed.
Yeah.
That's when it really hit a wall. And that's where we realized that the cancer had metastasized so much it just took over her whole liver, and there was no coming back from that. Yeah. You saw the way the doctor treated you differently at that point. The pain was still a little different. It was just you kind of can see the writing on the wall.
Yes.
But it's you keep looking through it though. Because if somebody gives you the book of your life, you don't check to the end.
Yeah.
And now you kind of see where this thing could possibly end at.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a point in time where she was asking the doctors, how long is it until you when you can't, and when I can't eat anymore? 30 days.
Wow.
It was true.
And I just have to applaud you. We have to applaud him. I need you guys to just send him some encouragement in the comments, because just your strength, even here, being able to talk about it and share this and be so transparent it takes strength, you know. And one of the questions that I have for you, like even with, you know, my husband, it was so unexpected, right? There was no preparation, there was no warning or anything. And as a widow, I wish like I had more time with him, or I wish I could have done something different or did something different to stop him. But you had that honor and that privilege to prepare. Do you think it's hard? It was harder, like when you have the preparation? Because sometimes we ask for stuff not realizing it's harder. You know,
you don't know what you're thankful sometimes until you look back. You know, it's like one of my favorite quotes is, "Do something today you feed yourself and thank you for it." And that to me, it's more about appreciating, you know, the choices that you make there, being able to reflect back on certain things.
Yes.
You know, I was able to see that what we were given was an opportunity to spend this time with her, which is a big reason. Like she was at home with the kids when COVID went, school shut down, and she was there.
Yes.
You know, my role, I had to be at school, and during that time, we weren't dismissed to go back. That was before, like, it was okay, where everybody shut down, working from there. And even in public education, that was it was kind of always you have to have somebody in the school. You gotta have somebody there.
Yes.
And I was starting to get calls from I was probably like 7.
Yes.
Yeah,
7 at the time.
Yeah, probably about 7. He gave me a call. I was like, Mom's not feeling well.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what to do. It wasn't anything super extreme, but it was indicative of what I knew was going to go on.
Yes.
So, and at that point in time, it was also, and catch me because I started going a little random going off. But one of the pieces was I had 2 kids finally in public school, and I got one still in preschool. So now I have to find 3 people to watch. I'm all over the place. I had to find a place for 3 of my kids to go to. That means to pay them individually. So now I'm paying back in daycare, preschool 3 more times. Now, as a wife was making decent money. As an administrator, you know, it's okay. That's not, you're not working in the corporate world.
Yeah.
The cost of these things, on top of that, just didn't, like, the numbers didn't add up. And then you're talking and like think about, you know, what can I do?
Yes.
And I was kind of just going, what could I do? And so much of my existence is built upon, you know, making sure that I'm stable. I got a job and I have insurance. This thing is going on. You know, I know home's taken care of. I know this is happening here. And just looked at, you know, some of the numbers and looked at what it was, and I just wanted to decide, you know what, I'm gonna take the kids.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take them. We'll get some other kids who also meet the same situation, who also understands our situation.
Yes.
To hopefully participate in the pod with us. And that was still kids did virtual, and I kind of facilitated the services. And basically, the parents who had the full-time thing, I was able to be the parent and kind of help get the kids, you know, understand, get the homework done, make sure they had questions from the teachers in class. I can answer those things. It's kind of being that kind of liaison between the school and the home. So, but being there, that allowed me to be there with her.
Yes.
And then during that time period, I had so much more time.
Yeah.
Like, if I was too afraid to leave my job.
Yeah.
Like, I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, that was a huge thing. It was a hard decision because I don't like leaving things, first of all. That's kind of one of my things. Like, you know, you kind of need to give it up a little bit. Like, no, I said I'm going to do it, so I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But that was, I don't know how many years that was equivalent to.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you kind of start the time on it. The original question was?
Being like, was it harder? Like,
okay, yes. So
knowing, you know,
it was. Again, I really thought we were coming out of this.
Yeah.
So that's the period. And then when I saw things, that's what was different. People would ask me when she passed, like, my grieving looked different. And I was like, I was grieving before the plane crashed.
Yeah.
I saw us going down. Their engines were down and things happened. And I was there with her every night. I was there with her in the hospital, stayed overnight with her. She was in there. I was in there with her on the bed, sofa, couch, whatever it was. I was there in and out. When she was at home, I was her caretaker.
Yeah.
And that was my role. And I appreciated that role. I felt honored and privileged to have that, to be able to be there for her in that capacity.
Yeah.
Was it hard? Hell yeah, it was hard. But I was appreciative. And it was harder because I was there for her last breath.
Yeah.
I saw that. It's not necessarily in a hospital kind of thing, but you can kind of it's different. It's like, so I just imagined that everything that happened to me was something that was supposed to happen to me, that I was supposed to go through this.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own path. You don't know what your path is. This was something for me that changed me.
Yeah.
And was recently someone was asking me about grief and so on. I was like, I wonder if a butterfly, when it comes out of being a cocoon and starts flapping his wings, how long does it take to recognize you're a butterfly? What do you really need to do? I'm sure that takes some time to really understand this new you.
Yeah.
So I'm appreciative of it. I'm happy that I had it. She planned her funeral.
Wow.
And she also wanted we had bought a little piece of property up on in the northern neck, and she wanted to have some of her ashes. She wanted to be buried there. So actually, this past April 16th, actually completed that. So that was finally done. Some of her ashes were also spread in St. Simon's Island, where her ancestors were from there. Some slave plantations that was there.
Wow.
So between both of those things, that's how we show respect for her. So it was interesting. She said she wanted a biodegradable urn, and she wanted her funeral to be this way, and she picked out what she wanted things to be. So it was like, she had it down, and that's one of the things that I loved her for too. Is like I wasn't even thinking about those things, and she was like, no, we gotta make sure we do these things.
Yes.
The wills and all that stuff. I'm so appreciative of it, because if it was just on me, I don't know how you would do it. Not at all. So, those are ways that I feel like it's come without that time.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have.
And I just, again, just the strength, because I saw and I followed, and I saw how she went on a path of forgiveness and making sure that she freed her spirit up, that she didn't have any anger, any hurt, any bitterness. And it was so much inspiration. I even feel right now, just the tingling, this, God, that it was definitely him leading her, and I just want that to be encouragement for you guys as well, that this woman was facing, her day, that she was going to be meeting our Maker, and she still forgave. She still loved. She still poured out and made sure that her husband was okay, even after the process, right? And I know sometimes we can let life and our circumstances cause us to be angry, be bitter, upset with God. But I need you guys to take this story and take his testimony and allow that to help you guys push through. Because if she was able to do all that, right? You're still here. You're still breathing. You're still going. So you have to get some, don't allow her death and passing on to be in vain, right? You guys have to just appreciate, because you just never know what people are going through, right? And I wanted to ask you too, just as a dad, how has it been for the kids? Because you guys have 2 boys and a princess.
Yes.
Yes. How was it for the kids?
So going back to that, she was very forward thinking. We had conversations, we watched movies. You know, it's interesting, the Disney movies actually sprinkle a lot of things about death through those Pixar kind of movies. So they were able to relate to some of those things after stuff had happened. But we had conversations, like my wife with our kids, you know, about what it would look like.
Yeah.
You know, her leaving this. You know, like, you know, one day mommy's not going to be here, and you know, and that's going to be okay. And you know, you're still strong. We do these things, and she gave them little lessons and stuff that they sticks in their subconscious. And even conversations about, you know, one day you're going to have another mommy.
Wow.
And it's not going to be right away, but you know, that's going to be all right too.
Yeah.
And you know, and I say these things because those have carried on, and those kids remember those words that she said. And you know, I remember the morning she passed. And I remember waking them up and telling them what happened. Walk across the hall to their room because she was in our house, and you know, I had to be the one to tell them this news. You know, that's like, you know, like, wow, I gotta, whew.
Yeah.
And I knew it was for her. It was the hardest part of everything. It was her baby's not having a mom.
Yeah.
So like that's like the stuff that sticks with me. So saying that, you know, my kids have been resilient. You know, kids are more elastic than we give them credit for. And as parents and as adults, we've seen a lot, and we understand loss differently than kids do. They remember stuff and they miss things, but that connection is a little different. Like my loss with her is different than their loss with her.
Yes.
Because they were so young, it's like they can forget what she looked like sometimes. And that's like, oh man.
Wow.
Or I can tell stories, you know. It's like I just had pictures when you were a kid, and you know, it's like, oh man, you were 2.5 when she passed.
Yeah.
You were just getting into that relationship. You know, you were just starting this thing, and you know, to pull the carpet from under you all so early, and I can't relate to that. I have both of my parents.
Yeah.
So then that's also tough about that. So coming back to me, I feel ultra responsible for providing a balanced life for them.
Yes.
I believe that I'm a well-balanced person. Probably tilt more to sarcasm sometimes. So, you know, I get internally check to make sure that I'm not doing too much. But at the end of the day, I am still who I am.
Yes.
And you know, how I treat them is ways that I honor her and so on. So, you know, it's been good. You know, we had counseling done earlier for them, and they did well with it. And so I'm proud of how they did.
Yeah. Wow. And just having that closure, you know, because a lot of kids sometimes don't have that, you know, and being able to have that closure and kind of know the next steps, that's really powerful. And they're going to always have that. They're always going to remember, like, even at her death, like, she still thought of me to prepare me and make sure that I was okay and that I knew mommy loved you. But, you know, this is what's going to happen. So that's just powerful. Like, what advice do you have for dads that maybe didn't have that closure and they're trying to get their kids to the same space where they're able to?
Well, I think as an educator, I want to say prevention is best.
Yes.
So, you know, I would say to those who are, you know, with a full house, then you just work on that emotional connection with your children, and as much, you know, and to be leaned into your family more than outside the doors of your house.
Yes.
You know, like lean into your kid more than your phone. You know, or at least balance it in there. You know, and just having the tough conversations. Like, it's tough to have some conversations, you know, with your children, especially because it can be awkward. It's uncomfortable for you.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for them, unless you make it that way. So if you establish that communication early, then I think that will always prove, benefits in the future. However, if you're a person like who has lost, rapidly without any type of closure there, I think first thing is knowing that you're not alone against them.
Yes. Yes.
The unfortunate thing is there's so many traumatic things that happen every day. Expected, unexpected. Sometimes expected things you can expect and still something unexpected. I believe in counseling and therapy.
Yes.
I believe in taking time for yourself.
Yes.
I believe in shrinking your circles to make sure you keep positive people and energy around you.
Yes, I agree.
You don't always need to have people around you either.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay just to fill yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
And I prefer not to be around folks who I don't have the same type of vibe and energy from them.
Yes.
And then when I feel exhausted, then I will go ahead and dismiss myself. And so nothing disrespectful at all, but it's just I believe in positivity. I believe in positive expectations and understanding. So
yes.
I don't live with this. I'm expecting hate and negativity from you. So that's what I expect for those people to be around me. I say a lot to say, I think that's really important. Teach that to your kids at that point. Teach vulnerability. So if you're vulnerable, it's okay to have that time.
Yes.
For me, when I have waves of emotion that may come from the loss, and just just sit back like, man.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to dodge it. Sometimes you may dodge with alcohol, drugs, other things like that. Sometimes it's okay just to sit there for a second.
Yeah.
And just recognize what it is what feeling is coming to me.
Yeah.
What am I getting from this? Am I missing one person? Am I afraid to miss someone? Am I afraid to think about the positive things?
Yeah.
Am I afraid that it may happen to me now? And now I'm nervous about this thing that's going on. Whatever it is, so I think it's okay to talk about it, or to have somebody to talk to, or to think through that. And to have the support system is super important.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Wow. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take a quick break.
All right.
And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna wrap up our interview. And again, you guys are listening to the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on 101.3 Rejoice. This is your Destiny Pusher, Mrs. Cynthia Williams-Bey, and you are listening to the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on Rejoice 101.3. Hello, Rejoice listeners. This is Cynthia Williams-Bey of the Williams-Bey Radio Show. Be sure to tune in with me every Friday at 12 noon here on Rejoice 101.3 because it's Fighting Fridays and it's time for you to push through so God can restore you and spring you forth into your destiny.
His name is Jesus. I got a friend. His name is Jesus. There's no one like me. 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 I got a friend. That you know. He serves Serena, Venus, even served Bruno Mars, Wrigley. Bars and sound bites you can handle. Note this, I'm tenor by tone, but my Ric Flair is soprano. Had to cut a ham near my pocket like Randall, but the Pearson adopted me, therefore I am Randall. I wasn't born here, I was born again here. I went from Gentile to a gentleman cause of my friend. You know, I got a friend. His name is Jesus. There's no one like, 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 there's no one like. You say I got a friend. His name is Jesus. I got a friend. His name is Jesus. There's no one like, 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 there's no one like. You say I got a friend who knows all my griefs and my sins. I was guilty in a sense. That's what he bathed me in, like Chanel when he was nailed to that lowercase t like a plus sign. Do the math, simple addition. The sun is the sum, in him there is no division. Make sure in all you're getting, you get nutrition. And when you're talking about my friends, say delicious. His name is Jesus. I got a friend. His name is Jesus. There's no one like, 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 there's no one like. You say I got a friend. His name is Jesus. I got a friend. His name is Jesus. There's no one like him. 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 I got a friend who knows every trial, every temptation. Knows that you get weak, know that you're heavy laden. But in his arms, you'll be safe like you beat the throw. He went to bat for you, so you were coming home. Even if you ran the base or you stole. Even if the fat lady singing, she ain't close. No, you still got time, I suppose. If you don't think that I'm keeping it real, look at my nose.
I did. His name is Jesus. I got a friend. His name is Jesus.
There's no one like me. There's no one like me. You say there's no one like me. There's no one like me. I got a friend. His name is Jesus. I got a friend. I got a friend. His name is Jesus. There's no one like. 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 Not at all.
His name is Jesus. I got a friend. His name is Jesus.
There's no one like it. There's no one like it. There's no one like it. There's no one like it.
Hello, everyone. It's Mrs. Cynthia Williams-Bey, and we're here on the Williams-Bey Radio Show on 101.3 FM, and we are screening live also on Facebook, and you can also go on to Anchor and hear us as well. But we are back, and for those of you that are just tuning in, we're here with Mr. Adam Evans, and he has been sharing just a beautiful testimony about his wife and his family, and we're going to go ahead and just jump back in. So before we left to go on the break, it was getting emotional. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to lighten it up, because we know that even through our adversities and life trials and just loss and grief, that God can birth great things, out of that. Can you share with the audience like some of the things that have come out of, your wife's transition, some of the great things God is doing, outside of the fact that he's been keeping you and the babies?
Well, I would say that probably, it's weird because I don't like talking about myself. So it's also like, it's probably like the biggest thing. Me and one of my partners, I guess it's been back in November, opened up a whiskey cigar lounge in Richmond. That was a real awesome thing. It was something that was needed for me. And I said, I don't necessarily have a history in hospitality like that, but I enjoy business and I like business and I like learning things and I like new challenges.
Yes.
And that was something that I wanted to get into and to be a part of, especially now after leaving education. I wanted to try a different venture. So
and it's okay, guys. You hear our babies in the background.
Yeah, so that's been exciting. It's been bittersweet because I know that it's something that I would have loved to have experience with Tunquil's TQ. And one of the property that we invested in before she passed, we've been doing some Airbnbs from there, and it's been really awesome. And once again, something that she wasn't able to put eyes on, but she put eyes there, but we never had a chance to be there like that together. So, we've been very fortunate in this past year. It was a year, April 5th, and a lot of, like you said, a lot of positive things have happened from there. And, trying to shake off the funk of, like even you hear me now, it's kind of like this, kind of hard. And, I still live in the weeds and trying to work on the eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm appreciative of all, the situations, and I'm, and excited for, to be able to be in this position where I'm able to take time for myself to look at different, ventures and, things that I want to learn and do for myself, and that can benefit myself and my family and beyond. So, it's been exciting.
Yes.
I don't think I sound excited enough.
No, you are. But it's okay because, both our spouses, even though they're not here, they still are proud of us. They're still proud of us. They're in the cloud of witnesses, witnessing everything, the vision, seeing the vision, the legacy still being carried on, So I know she would be proud.
Well, no, she would probably tell me to say more, probably sit up or something. Something else.
And talk about yourself. We want to know how we can support you, so how can we support you? How can we as a community support, yourself and other men? Right? Because again, I feel like we don't talk a lot about men that are going through loss.
Exactly.
How can we support you guys?
Well, I guess the first thing is the Haiku. Well, I'll go to Haiku support men. I think allowing men to be vulnerable. One thing my father-in-law does a great job of is really speaking about, he's able to share his emotions and to play in a way that is balanced. Even sometimes you see a young boy crying, and always puff your chest up, put your chin up, stop wiping your face off. Sometimes those feelings are sincere, and you can coach through feelings. You can have conversations about feelings. So you don't have to have this negative connotation towards tears or emotions. But again, you can understand what those emotions are. So what can we do for men is create more safe spaces for people to have conversations.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is easier sometimes for men to talk to women than it is to talk to other men, because it's a fear that it's already pre-established that men can't be vulnerable around other men. So it takes men to be vulnerable, but then men who are not vulnerable see the men who are vulnerable as being vulnerable. Man, y'all weak men is that's what we're trying to teach you how to do this. It's just the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, it's trying to figure out ways to stop the cycle, which again, the educator says, go back to the home, go back early, just keep pushing it there. That's one thing. But then currently, you're just making safe spaces that men can have conversations and figure out the verbiage and the words to share about how they feel, what they feel, what does that mean, talking through that, which is equivalent to some form of therapy, but then you put a negative connotation on therapists, so it's tough. Some people find it in the church, some people find it through their the HR and the work benefits. Some people find it at a boys' night out or something like that. Everybody has their place, but people need to have a place dedicated to healing, dedicated to sharing and venting.
Yes.
Letting, popping the cap off of those emotions so you don't get boiled up and it doesn't pop.
Yes.
And that's when it's important. And then by doing that, other men can see and learn how to be like that. Because everything that we do is learned. I mean, some things are inherent, but that's, you can learn how to talk, learn how to listen, learn how to relate, empathize. So that's what's important. So like on one side, how can people do to help me? Because I think about helping other people. So by helping me, it's helping another man, helping a young boy. So you see somebody crying, it's like, hey, think about what that conversation is, or asking them what's going on with that, and resources beyond something ridiculous. But sometimes it's okay to challenge people to do something and ask wise and difficult questions. So that's one side. And I would say exclusively to myself, the name of the restaurant, Cigar Lounge, is called Brun, or Brun, depends on what you have, which it's Brun, which is French for brown, which is indicative of the color of the ownership and most whiskeys and cigars and tobacco as well. So we are a 100% black-owned business located in Richmond, Virginia, the Fan.
Okay.
We have live music. We have great food. And we like to think we have a good experience and great options for a good time out. Grown people stuff. It's a place that you want to take a day. You have a date or a night out with your significant other. You can go to and feel okay about doing that. It's like, I like to do this. I want to listen to some jazz. I like to do salsa lessons. I like to have a really nice drink. Have some some kind of like a soul fusion food.
Awesome. Guys, make sure Run, right?
BRUN experience.
Yes. And are you on social media?
Facebook and Instagram. So BRUN experience.
Yes. So that's your challenge, guys. Make sure that you go and you follow Run, right? Richmond, Virginia, right in the Fan District, you said? Yes. Please make sure that you support. Listen, this was really great, right? Not under the circumstances of having to come on here, but I just thank you for just coming on and just, sharing with the audience and just being so transparent and vulnerable, right? Because again, Williams-Bey Radio Show, I want to create that safe space for men and women to share their stories of trial and triumph, right?
Right.
Because we have the victory. We have victory in the end. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. And guys, please, please, please make sure that you support him. Please make sure that you go follow him on social media at the Brun. Is it just the Brun or Brun Experience? Brun Experience. And please make sure you go and cigars, right? You have cigars and different
restaurants is separate, so there's
it's a separation, but it's okay. Like you can go and get the experience, all right? So thank you so much again, and I just pray many blessings and support and strength and encouragement your way. Just know that you are in all of our prayers, you and your babies. And I'm just excited to see just what God is just going to continue to do with you all,
I appreciate that.
Yes. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And again, this is the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on 101.3 Rejoice. And I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on Rejoice 101.3. To be a guest or to become a partner of our show, please be sure to email me at cindy@bayradioshow.com. To stay up to date with us and to catch the replay, visit us at www.bayradioshow.com. And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at Bey Radio Show. And again, this is your Destiny Pusher, Mrs. Cynthia Williams-Bey, and I need you to meet me back next Friday at the same time so that God can restore you and spring you forth into your destiny.